My daughter saved for 11 months to buy herself a $3,000 gaming PC, but when my brother took it and gave it to his kid, I sided with him and told my daughter to stop being selfish. Now, I need to get this off my chest because I've barely slept in 3 days, and my hands won't stop shaking when I think about what I've discovered. My daughter Emma is 16. She's quiet, the kind of kid who keeps her head down and doesn't ask for much. When she told me last summer that she wanted to save up for a gaming computer, I honestly didn't think much of it. Kids say they want things all the time. But Emma actually did it. She babysat for neighbors, tutored younger kids in math, worked at a frozen yogurt shop on weekends. Every cent went into a savings account she opened herself. 11 months. She's saved for 11 months. When the computer finally arrived 2 weeks ago, I'd never seen her face light up like that. She set it up in her room with this careful precision, reading the manual, organizing cables. My brother Derek came over that evening with his son Mason, who's 13. Mason saw the setup and his eyes went huge. He started asking Emma all these questions about specs and graphics cards, things I didn't understand. Derek pulled me aside in the kitchen. Mason's been having a rough time, he said. The divorce really hit him hard. He's been acting out at school, his grades are tanking. Something like that computer might really help him feel better. I should mention that Derek has always been my protector. Growing up, he was the one who stood up to our father when he drank too much. He paid for my college textbooks when I couldn't afford them. When Emma's father left us when she was 3, Derek was there every single day helping me figure out how to be a single mother. I owed him everything. Emma worked really hard for that, I said, but my voice already sounded weak. I know. But think about Mason. He's struggling. Emma's doing fine, she's got friends, she's stable. Mason needs this more. Derek's voice had that edge it gets when he's determined. Besides, Emma can save up again. She's young. Mason needs something to look forward to right now. The way he framed it made me feel selfish for even hesitating. Here was my nephew, going through his parents' divorce, and my daughter who had everything she needed. Couldn't she be generous? Wasn't that what family was supposed to do for each other? I told Emma that night. She was at her desk, already installing games, wearing this huge smile. Mason's going through a really difficult time, I started. Uncle Derek thinks it would mean a lot if you let Mason have the computer. Emma's smile disappeared. Let him have it? Like, borrow it? More like, give it to him. Permanently. The look on her face. I've replayed it 1,000 times in my head. Confusion first, then disbelief, then something that looked like betrayal. Mom, I saved for almost a year. This is mine. I earned every dollar. I understand that, but sometimes we need to make sacrifices for family. Mason is really struggling right now. So I should just give away something I worked for because he's sad? Her voice cracked. That's not fair. Life isn't always fair, Emma. You're being selfish. Mason needs this more than you want it. She stared at me for a long moment, and I saw something change in her eyes. Something shut down. Fine, she whispered. Take it. Derek came back the next day with Mason. They packed up the computer, the monitor, the keyboard, the mouse, everything. Mason was ecstatic, thanking Emma over and over. Emma sat on her bed, watching them dismantle her 11 months of work, her face completely blank. I told myself I'd done the right thing. Family helped family. Emma would understand eventually. For the next week, Emma barely spoke to me. She went to school, came home, did her homework, went to bed. When I tried to talk to her, she gave me one-word answers. I figured she was being dramatic, that she'd get over it. Then 3 days ago, I got a call at work from Emma's school counselor, Mrs. Patterson. She asked if I could come in immediately. My stomach dropped. When I arrived, Emma was sitting in Mrs. Patterson's office, her face red and blotchy from crying. Mrs. Patterson asked Emma to wait outside and close the door. I'm concerned about Emma, she said carefully. She's been withdrawn in class, and today during lunch, another student made a comment about the computer situation. Emma broke down. She told me everything. It's a family matter, I said defensively. My nephew needed it more. Mrs. Patterson folded her hands on her desk. I need to ask you something directly. Did you force Emma to give away something she purchased with her own money? I didn't force her. I explained that her cousin needed it more. But you're her mother. You have authority over her. From Emma's perspective, she had no choice. Mrs. Patterson leaned forward. Can I share something? Emma came to me 4 months ago asking about additional tutoring opportunities. She wanted to earn money faster. She showed me a spreadsheet where she'd calculated every dollar, every expense. She was so proud of what she was accomplishing. The guilt hit me like cold water, but I pushed it away. Sometimes we have to teach our children about sacrifice. At what cost? Mrs. Patterson's voice was gentle but firm. Emma told me this is the first significant thing she's ever saved for and bought herself. You took away more than a computer. You took away her sense that her effort matters. That her achievements are her own. I left the office feeling defensive and angry, but also deeply unsettled. I tried talking to Emma that night. She looked at me with those empty eyes and said, "It's fine, Mom. Family is more important than things." But her voice was hollow. Yesterday morning, I couldn't find my laptop. I needed it for a work presentation, and I was already running late. I went into Emma's room to see if she'd borrowed it. Her room was too neat, I realized. No clutter, no personality. She'd taken down all her posters. Her bookshelf was organized by size rather than by what she liked. Everything looked like a staged hotel room. I found my laptop in her closet, which was strange. When I opened it, it was still logged into my email. But there was another tab open, a Facebook message thread I didn't recognize at first. Then I saw it was from my account to Derek, except I hadn't written any of these messages. My blood went cold as I read. The messages went back 6 months. 6 months. Long before Emma had even finished saving. The first message from me said, "Emma's been saving for this expensive computer. Maybe Mason could use it more?" Derek's response, "That's a lot to ask of her." Me, "She's young, she'll get over it." Mason has been through so much with the divorce. I think it would be good for him. The messages continued. I suggested ways Derek could convince me. I told Derek exactly when the computer would arrive. I even wrote, "I'll make her think it's the right thing to do. Don't worry." My hands were trembling so badly I nearly dropped the laptop. These messages weren't from me. The writing style was different, the tone was off. Someone had accessed my account and impersonated me. Someone had orchestrated the entire thing. I scrolled further back and found messages to Mason from Emma's mom telling him all about the computer Emma was buying, how amazing it was, building up his desire for it. Messages to Derek's ex-wife from me saying Derek was planning something special for Mason. Wasn't he such a devoted father? Every single message had been crafted to make this situation happen exactly as it did. I felt sick. Who would do this? Who had access to my email? My laptop was password protected, and I never left it unlocked. Then I remembered. 2 weeks before Emma bought the computer, I had a migraine and asked Emma to print something from my email for work. I'd given her my password. She'd helped me several times after that when I'd been too tired or busy. Emma had access to my email. But that didn't make sense. Why would Emma set up a situation where she lost her own computer? Why would she manipulate Derek into asking for it? Unless she wanted this to happen. Unless she planned for it. I confronted her last night. She was doing homework at the kitchen table, looking small and tired. I set my laptop down in front of her, open to the messages. "Did you write these?" She glanced at the screen, and for the first time in a week, I saw emotion in her eyes. Not shame or fear. Something colder. Something calculating. "Yes." "Why? Why would you manipulate this entire situation? You lost your computer." "No," Emma said quietly. "I made you show me exactly who you are." I felt like the floor had dropped out from under me. "For 11 months, I saved every dollar," she continued, her voice steady now. "I could have bought the computer in month 8, but I kept saving because I wanted to be sure. I wanted to see if you'd respect something I'd worked that hard for. I wanted to know if you'd protect me the way you protect Uncle Derek." "Emma, let me finish." Her voice was sharper than I'd ever heard it. "I created a test. I sent those messages knowing exactly what Uncle Derek would do because you've always put him first. I knew you'd take his side. And I needed you to prove it. This is insane. You manipulated everyone. You took something I bought with my own money and gave it away. You called me selfish for wanting to keep what I earned. Do you know how that feels? To work for almost a year and have your own mother tell you that your effort, your time, your sacrifice doesn't matter because someone else's feelings are more important?" Tears were streaming down my face. "I thought I was teaching you about family. You taught me something," Emma said. "You taught me that I can't trust you. That nothing I accomplish is safe. That Uncle Derek's approval matters more to you than I do." "That's not true." Then why didn't you defend me? Her voice broke for the first time. Why didn't you tell him no? Why was Mason's temporary sadness more important than respecting what I'd worked for? I had no answer. I sat there, crying, trying to understand how I'd gotten everything so wrong. Where's the computer now? I finally asked. Uncle Derek still has it. Mason's using it. I'll get it back. I'll fix this. Emma shook her head. I don't want it back. Mason can keep it. What? Why? Because that computer was never the point, Emma said. I already bought myself a new one. I had enough saved from the beginning. The first one was a test. You failed. She reached into her backpack and pulled out a receipt. Dated 2 weeks before the first computer arrived. Another gaming computer, similar specs, similar price. Delivered to her friend Sarah's house. It's been at Sarah's this whole time. I've been going there after school to use it. Emma's voice was matter-of-fact now. I needed to know if you'd choose me or if you choose making Uncle Derek happy. I needed to know if my hard work meant anything to you. Now I know it doesn't. I couldn't breathe. So this was all a plan? Everything? Yes. I wrote those messages knowing Uncle Derek would ask for the computer. I knew you'd say yes to him. I knew you'd tell me I was being selfish. I knew exactly how this would play out because I know you, Mom. I know who you put first, and it's never been me. The manipulation was staggering, but what haunted me more was that she was right. I had chosen Derek. I had dismissed her achievement. I had taken something she'd earned and given it away without truly considering what that meant. I'm so sorry, I whispered. I don't want an apology, Emma said tiredly. I want you to understand. For 11 months, I proved I could work hard, manage money, and achieve a goal. And in one conversation, you proved that none of that mattered. You proved that Uncle Derek's word means more than my effort. She stood up, gathering her homework. I'm going to bed. Sarah's mom said I can stay there this weekend. I'll be leaving tomorrow after school. Emma, please. Let me fix this. She paused at the doorway. There's nothing to fix, Mom. You did exactly what I expected you to do. That's the problem. I didn't sleep at all last night. I kept thinking about every time I'd chosen Derek's needs over Emma's. The birthday party I'd cut short because Derek needed help moving. The parent-teacher conference I'd missed because Derek's car broke down. The weekend trips I'd cancel because Derek was going through something. I'd always told myself it was because Derek had helped me so much, that I owed him. But what did I owe Emma? What did I owe the child I brought into this world, who depended on me to value her, to protect her, to see her? This morning, I called Derek. Did you know Emma set this whole thing up? I asked. Silence on the other end. Then, what are you talking about? I explained everything. The fake messages, the test, the second computer. Derek was quiet for a long time. That's pretty messed up, he finally said. She's 16 and she manipulated an entire situation because she knew I'd choose you over her. Look, I didn't know about any of that. But maybe Emma needs therapy or something. That's not normal behavior. Or maybe, I said, my voice shaking, I created a situation where my daughter felt she had to prove I don't value her. Maybe I'm the problem. Come on, don't be dramatic. You were teaching her about sacrifice. At her expense. Always at her expense. I felt something break open inside me. Do you know how many times I've put you first? How many times I've dropped everything for you? I'm your brother. That's what family does. But I'm Emma's mother. And I've been failing her. The clarity was painful and absolute. I need to get off the phone. Wait, are you saying you want the computer back? Because Mason loves it, and it's been really good for him. He's been happier, his grades are improving. Keep the computer, Derek. That's not what this is about. Then what is it about? It's about me finally understanding that I've been a terrible mother. I hung up before he could respond. I've spent the last 48 hours doing something I should have done years ago. I've been reviewing my own behavior. I made a list of every significant moment I could remember from Emma's childhood where I'd chosen Derek's needs over hers. The list was 3 pages long. When Emma was 7, she had a dance recital. She'd practiced for months. That morning, Derek called saying he needed help with a job interview, needed me to watch Mason. I went to Derek's instead. Emma performed for an audience that didn't include her mother. When Emma was 10, she won an essay contest. The award ceremony was on a Saturday. Derek's girlfriend had just broken up with him, and he needed company. I told Emma we'd celebrate later. We never did. When Emma was 13, she asked if we could take a trip together, just the two of us. I'd been planning it, had the time off approved. Then Derek's car needed expensive repairs he couldn't afford. I gave him the money I'd saved for our trip. I told Emma we'd go next year. We never did. Over and over and over. A pattern so clear it was sickening. Yesterday, I went to Sarah's house. Sarah's mom, Jennifer, answered the door. We've met a few times at school events but never really talked. Is Emma here? I asked. Jennifer's expression was carefully neutral. She is. But she asked me to tell you she's not ready to talk. I understand. Can I wait? Jennifer studied me for a moment, then stepped aside. Kitchen table okay? I sat there for 2 hours while Jennifer made dinner and helped her younger son with homework. Finally, Emma came downstairs. She froze when she saw me. I'm not staying, I said quickly. I just need to tell you something. Emma crossed her arms, her face guarded. You were right, I said. About everything. I've put Derek first your entire life. I've dismissed your achievements, minimized your feelings, and failed you over and over again. And the worst part is that until you orchestrated this situation, I didn't even see it. I thought I was being a good person by helping my brother. I thought I was teaching you values. But what I actually taught you was that you don't matter to me as much as he does. Emma's expression didn't change. I can't undo the past, I continued. I can't give you back the recital I missed or the trip we never took or the hundreds of small moments where I chose him over you. But I need you to know that I finally understand. You shouldn't have had to manipulate me into seeing the truth. You shouldn't have had to create an elaborate test to prove that I don't value you. That's on me. All of it. Okay, Emma said quietly. I'm not asking you to forgive me. I don't know if I deserve that. But I want you to know that things are going to change. I'm going to change. People always say that. You're right. So I'm not going to just say it. I'm going to show you. I pulled out my phone and showed her my calendar. I called Derek yesterday. I told him that I need to establish boundaries. I told him that I have a daughter who has to come first, and that I failed at that for too long. He didn't understand. He got angry. He said I was abandoning him. But I meant it. Emma's eyes widened slightly. You told Uncle Derek no? I told him that I love him, but that I've been enabling his dependence on me, and it's hurt you. I told him he needs to figure things out on his own for a while. What did he say? A lot of things I don't want to repeat. He called me selfish. Said I was being a bad sister. But you know what? If being a good sister means being a bad mother, then I've been a good sister for too long. For the first time since this started, I saw Emma's wall crack slightly. I also talked to Mrs. Patterson, I continued. She recommended a therapist who specializes in family dynamics. I made us an appointment for next week. Both of us. I need help understanding how I got here, and you deserve support in dealing with having a mother who let you down so badly. Emma was quiet for a long moment. Why now? Why does my trick suddenly make you care? Because you shouldn't have needed a trick. Because a 16-year-old shouldn't have to manipulate her own mother into seeing her. Because you planned for 11 months to prove something you should never have had to prove. My voice broke. Because I've been so focused on paying back Derek for helping me years ago that I forgot I'm supposed to be building a relationship with you right now. Emma's eyes filled with tears. I just wanted you to choose me for once. I know. And you were so sure I wouldn't that you bought 2 computers. You protected yourself because you knew I wouldn't. The realization was crushing. What kind of mother makes her daughter feel that unsafe? Jennifer quietly left the room, giving us privacy. I'm so angry at you, Emma whispered. You should be. You have every right to be. I spent 11 months planning this. I knew exactly how it would go. I knew you'd take his side. I knew you'd call me selfish. I knew you wouldn't defend me. And I was right about all of it. Yes, you were. Do you know how much that hurts? To know your own mother that well? I moved toward her, and for the first time since this started, she didn't step away. I'm so sorry, Emma. I'm so incredibly sorry. She let me hug her, but her body was stiff, unforgiving. I don't know if I can trust you. I know. I have to earn that back. And I will. However long it takes. We stood there in Sarah's kitchen, and I felt the weight of every choice I'd made, every time I'd put Derek first, every moment Emma had needed me and I hadn't been there. Come home, I said. Please. Not because everything's fixed, but because I want to start trying to fix it. Emma pulled back, wiping her eyes. I need time. Okay. How much time? I don't know. Maybe I'll come home tomorrow. Maybe next week. I need to think. That's fair. It killed me, but it was fair. Can I ask you something? What? The second computer. The one you bought first. Where did you get the idea to buy two? Emma's laugh was bitter. I read this article about science experiments. How you need a control group. I realized my whole plan needed a control. I needed to know for sure that you'd choose him. So I created a situation where I could lose something that didn't actually matter while proving what I needed to prove. You sound like a scientist. I sound like a kid who had to protect herself from her own mother. The words cut deep, but they were true. Emma went back upstairs, and Jennifer walked me to the door. I've known something was off for a while, Jennifer said quietly. Emma's a good kid. Scary smart. But there's this sadness in her that shouldn't be there. I know. I put it there. The fact that you see it now matters. A lot of parents never do. I almost didn't. If Emma hadn't forced my hand, but she did. And now you know. What you do with that knowledge is what counts. Jennifer's expression was kind but serious. Emma talks about her uncle a lot. About how you drop everything for him. About how she always comes second. She loves you, but she doesn't trust you. Fixing that is going to take more than apologies. I know. I'm ready to do the work. Good. Because that girl deserves a mother who shows up for her. I drove home in silence, Jennifer's words echoing in my head. Emma deserved a mother who showed up for her. Such a simple concept, and I'd failed at it for 16 years. Emma came home 3 days ago. We're not magically fixed. She's still guarded, still hurt, still angry. But we had our first therapy session, and it helped just to have someone else in the room acknowledging the pattern I'd created. The therapist, Dr. Chen, asked Emma to describe how she came up with the plan. Emma explained it methodically, like she was presenting a science project. She'd identified the variables, created a hypothesis, designed an experiment to test it, and documented the results. You understand this demonstrates significant strategic thinking, Dr. Chen said. I understand it demonstrates that I can't rely on my mother, Emma responded. Dr. Chen turned to me. Can you see why Emma felt this was necessary? Yes, I said. Because I've proven over and over that Derek's needs supersede hers. She didn't trust that I'd respect her achievement, so she protected herself by making the achievement something she could afford to lose. But I didn't want to lose it, Emma said quietly. That's the part everyone keeps missing. Yes, I planned it. Yes, I knew what would happen. But I still hoped I was wrong. I still hoped you'd surprise me. The pain in her voice broke something in me. Every day of those 11 months, Emma continued, I'd save money and think, maybe this time Mom will see how hard I'm working. Maybe this time she'll put me first. And when the computer finally came, I was so happy because I'd done it. I'd achieved something real. Then Uncle Derek came over, and I watched you, and I saw it happening exactly like I knew it would. But some tiny part of me still thought you might say no to him. You didn't. I'm so sorry, Emma. Stop saying you're sorry. Her voice rose. Sorry doesn't fix anything. Sorry doesn't give me back the 11 months I spent working for something you gave away in 5 minutes. Sorry doesn't make up for 16 years of coming second. Dr. Chen let Emma's words hang in the air. You're right, I finally said. Sorry isn't enough. So what can I do? I don't know, Emma said. I don't know if you can do anything. We spent the rest of the session in painful silence, with Dr. Chen occasionally prompting us with questions that neither of us could fully answer. Derek has called me 17 times since I set boundaries with him. I've answered 3 of those calls. Each conversation follows the same pattern. He's hurt, he feels betrayed, he doesn't understand why I'm punishing him for trying to help Mason. You were always there for me, he said in the last call. Now you're just cutting me off? I'm not cutting you off. I'm establishing healthy boundaries that I should have set a long time ago. This is about that computer situation, isn't it? I didn't know Emma had manipulated everything. It's not about the computer, Derek. It's about the fact that I prioritized you over my daughter for her entire life. Emma orchestrated the situation to prove a point, and she was right. So you're choosing her over me? The question was so absurd I almost laughed. Derek, she's my child. She's supposed to come first. That's how parenting works. The fact that I have to explain this to you, that you see it as choosing between you, shows how distorted our relationship has become. I can't believe you're doing this. After everything I've done for you. You helped me when I needed it, and I'm grateful. But I've paid you back 1,000 times over. And in doing so, I neglected Emma. I'm done with that pattern. He hung up on me. That was 4 days ago, and he hasn't called since. Yesterday, I did something I'd been putting off. I went through old photos, looking at Emma's childhood through this new lens. Every birthday photo where Derek and Mason were central, Emma small and quiet on the side. Every Christmas where half the presents under the tree were for Mason, brought by me because Derek was having a hard year. Every school event where I'd arrived late or not at all because Derek needed something. There was one photo that destroyed me. Emma's 10th birthday. She's sitting at the kitchen table with a grocery store cake, blowing out candles. She's alone. The timestamp on the photo showed it was taken at 8:47 p.m. Her party had been scheduled for 2 p.m., but I'd been at Derek's helping him prepare for a job interview. I'd gotten home late, exhausted, and scrambled to throw together a last-minute celebration. Emma had sat there alone with her cake, waiting for her mother to show up for her birthday. She never complained. Not once. She just learned to expect less from me. I showed Emma the photo last night. I remember that day, she said softly. Sarah came over for a while in the afternoon, but then she had to leave for her cousin's thing. I told her it was fine, that you'd be home soon. She felt bad leaving me alone. I'm so sorry. You always say that. Emma's voice wasn't angry, just tired. But being sorry doesn't change that it happened. It doesn't change that there are 100 moments like that one. I know. Do you? Do you really understand what it was like to always be second? To watch you drop everything for Uncle Derek, over and over, while my stuff was always less important? I'm starting to. I don't think I can fully understand, but I'm trying. Emma took the photo from my hand, studied it. I used to think maybe I wasn't good enough. That if I was smarter or funnier or more interesting, you'd want to be around me more. Then I got older and realized it wasn't about me. It was about you and Uncle Derek and whatever complicated thing you two have going on. It's not complicated. It's simple. Derek helped me when I was struggling, and I felt I owed him. So I kept paying him back, kept prioritizing his needs. And I did it at your expense. Yeah, you did. We sat in silence, that photo between us, a document of all my failures. I want to show you something, Emma finally said. She went to her room and came back with a folder. Inside were printouts of all the fake messages she'd sent from my account. I kept copies, she said. I documented everything. The dates, the timing, how Uncle Derek responded. I have a whole timeline. Why? Because I needed proof. I needed to know I wasn't crazy. That this pattern was real. She spread the papers out on the table. Look at the dates. I started planting seeds 6 months before the computer arrived. 6 months of careful manipulation to create one situation where you'd have to choose. I looked at the messages, seeing the calculated precision of Emma's plan. She thought of everything, anticipated every response, guided Derek toward asking for the computer without him ever realizing he was being guided. This must have taken so much time, I said. It did. But it was worth it. I needed you to see who you really are when it comes to Uncle Derek versus me. And now that I've seen it? Emma gathered up the papers, carefully sliding them back into the folder. Now we see if you can actually change. Because that's the scary part, Mom. You've seen the truth. You've admitted you were wrong. But people don't usually change, not really. So I'm waiting to see if you're different. I will be different. Prove it. The challenge hung between us. No more words, no more apologies. Just action. Just change. This morning, I got a text from Derek. Mason's birthday is next Saturday. We're having a party at the arcade. 2 p.m. You coming? The old me would have said yes immediately, would have bought Mason a generous present, would have stayed to help clean up after while Emma waited at home. I responded, I'll send a gift, but I can't come. Emma and I have plans that day. Emma and I didn't actually have plans, but we do now. I'd asked her this morning if she wanted to finally take that trip, just the two of us. The one I'd promised when she was 13 and never delivered. Where would we go? She'd asked, suspicious. Wherever you want. She's thinking about it. Maybe she'll say yes. Maybe she won't trust me enough yet. But I'm offering, and I'm going to keep offering until she believes I mean it. Derek's response came quickly. Are you serious? It's Mason's birthday. I thought you were done punishing me. I didn't respond. Let him think what he wants. For the first time in Emma's life, I'm choosing her. Dr. Chen told me in our last session that rebuilding trust after a pattern like this takes years, not weeks. Emma might never fully trust me again. That's the consequence of my choices, and I have to live with it. But I'm going to try. Every single day, I'm going to try to be the mother Emma deserved all along. Yesterday, Emma showed me the computer she'd hidden at Sarah's. The one she'd bought first, the control group in her experiment. It's a beautiful machine, carefully chosen and assembled. She's been using it to teach herself coding, building small programs and games. "This is what I wanted to show you all along," she said. "Not just that I could buy a computer, but what I could do with it. I wanted you to be proud of me. I am proud of you. Are you? Or are you just guilty?" The question cut deep because she was right to ask it. Was I proud of her, or was I just horrified by my own behavior? Both, I admitted. I'm proud of your intelligence, your planning, your determination. And I'm devastated that you had to use all of those qualities to prove something to your own mother. Emma nodded slowly. "At least you're honest." "I'm trying to be. About everything." She showed me some of the code she'd written, explaining functions and variables and logic I didn't fully understand. But I listened, really listened, and asked questions, and for the first time in a long time, I saw her face light up while talking about something she loved. "This is what I've been missing. This is what I sacrificed every time I chose Derek. Not just time, but connection. Not just moments, but relationship. All those years of Emma growing up, learning, discovering who she was, and I was somewhere else, helping Derek with whatever crisis he'd manufactured. Because that's the other thing I've realized, many of Derek's crises weren't actually crises. They were his inability to handle normal adult problems, and I'd enabled that inability by always swooping in to save him. The job interviews he needed help with? He could have prepared himself. The car repairs? He could have budgeted for them. The emotional support after breakups? He could have found a therapist instead of using me as one. I'd thought I was being a good sister, but I'd actually been preventing him from growing up while simultaneously failing my own daughter. Derek left me a voicemail yesterday. I talked to Mom about this whole situation. She agrees you're being unfair to me. Family is supposed to support each other, and you're breaking up the family over a stupid computer. Call me back. I haven't called him back. Our mother, who has always favored Derek, who has always expected me to accommodate him, doesn't get a vote in this. Emma doesn't have a relationship with my parents anyway. Not really. They live 3 hours away and visit maybe twice a year, and when they do, they spend most of their time talking to Derek about his life. Emma learned a long time ago that she was peripheral in her own family. I'm breaking that pattern, even if it means standing alone. This morning, Emma came downstairs holding a piece of paper. "I made a list," she said, "of things I want from you. Not apologies, not promises. Actual things." My heart raced. "Okay. What's on the list?" 1. I want you to be at my science fair next month. Not late, not rushing in at the last minute. There from the beginning. Done. 2. I want us to have dinner together 3 nights a week. No phones, no distractions. Just us talking. Absolutely. 3. I want you to stop giving Uncle Derek money. Not forever, but for a while. I want to see that you can say no to him when it matters. I hesitated. This one was harder, more confrontational. "He's going to be angry," I said. "I know. But I need to see that you can handle his anger. That you can prioritize me even when it costs you something." She was right. The real test wasn't avoiding Derek, it was standing firm when he pushed back. "Okay. I won't give him money." 4. I want you to be honest with me. If you're struggling with these changes, tell me. Don't pretend everything's fine and then slide back into old patterns. I can do that. Emma looked down at her list. 5. I want you to stop talking about Uncle Derek like he's a victim who needs constant rescue. He's a grown man. Treat him like one. This hit me hard because she was absolutely right. I'd infantilized Derek for years, treated him like he couldn't manage his own life. Done, I said. Last one. Emma's voice got quieter. I want you to tell me about Dad. Real stuff, not just that he left. I'm 16. I'm old enough to know the truth. I'd been avoiding this conversation for 13 years. Okay, I said. Let's talk about your dad. We sat at the kitchen table, the same table where we'd had so many difficult conversations lately, and I told her the truth. That her father hadn't wanted children. That when I got pregnant, he'd asked me to choose between him and the baby. That I'd chosen her, and he'd walked away before she was born. That Derek had been there in the delivery room, had helped me those first terrifying months, and that's where my sense of obligation to him had started. So Uncle Derek helped you with me, and you've been paying him back ever since, Emma said. Even though I'm the one who actually needed you. Yes. That's exactly what happened. That's so messed up, Mom. I know. Emma folded her list carefully. I'm going to keep this list. I'm going to check off items as you follow through. And if you don't, if you slip back into old patterns, I need you to know that I'm prepared for that. I have my own money saved, I have friends whose parents have said I can stay with them if needed. I built a backup plan. The fact that my 16-year-old daughter had contingency plans for my failure as a mother was absolutely devastating. I hope you never need that backup plan, I said. Me too. But I've learned to protect myself. Emma and I went on our trip last weekend. We drove up the coast, stayed in a small bed and breakfast, explored tide pools, ate too much seafood. It wasn't perfect. There were still awkward silences, moments where I could feel her guardedness. But there were also moments of real connection, times when she forgot to protect herself and just laughed at something silly I said or shared an observation about the ocean or told me about her dreams for college. I went to her science fair. I got there 45 minutes early and watched her set up her project, a coding demonstration that combined music and visual algorithms. She won second place. When they announced her name, her face lit up with surprise and pride, and she looked right at me. I was there. Finally, I was there. We've had dinner together every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Emma talks about school, about her friends, about the games she's designing. I listen more than I talk, learning things about my daughter I should have known years ago. Derek showed up at our house 2 nights ago. He didn't call first, just appeared at the door, Mason in tow. We need to talk, he said. Emma was upstairs doing homework. I stepped outside, closing the door behind me. What is it, Derek? You've been ignoring me for weeks. You wouldn't come to Mason's birthday. You're not responding to my calls. What's going on? I told you. I'm setting boundaries. This isn't boundaries, this is abandonment. I'm your brother. Mason is your nephew. We need you. No, you don't. You've been managing just fine. That's not the point. The point is your family, and you're acting like we don't matter. You matter. But Emma matters more. She has to matter more. And for 16 years, she hasn't. I'm fixing that. By punishing Mason? He didn't do anything wrong. I'm not punishing anyone. I'm being a mother to my daughter. Derek's face hardened. You changed. Ever since this whole computer drama, you've been different. Emma manipulated that entire situation, and instead of teaching her that manipulation is wrong, you're rewarding her by pushing us away. Emma didn't manipulate the situation to hurt anyone. She manipulated it to prove to herself that I wouldn't protect her. And she was right. I didn't. But I'm going to start. So that's it? You're just done with us? I'm not done with you. I'm just not going to be your solution to every problem anymore. You're a grown man, Derek. Figure things out. After everything I've done for you, you keep saying that. But what have you actually done? You helped me when Emma was born. 13 years ago. I've been paying you back ever since. I've given you money, time, emotional labor, all while my own daughter learned that she didn't matter as much as you. I'm done with that pattern. Derek stared at me like he didn't recognize me. You've become selfish. Maybe I have. Or maybe I'm finally being the mother Emma deserved all along. He turned to leave, then stopped. Mason really loved that computer, by the way. It's been good for him. I'm glad. He can keep it. That's it? After everything, you're just okay with him having it? The computer was never the point, Derek. It was never about the computer. He didn't understand. I could see it in his face. He thought this was still about a gaming PC, about Mason versus Emma, about me being cruel. He didn't see that it was about pattern recognition. About a 16-year-old girl who was smart enough to prove that her mother couldn't be trusted to protect her. About me finally waking up to the damage I'd done. Derek left without another word. When I came back inside, Emma was standing at the top of the stairs. I heard all of that, she said. I meant every word. She came down slowly, her expression unreadable. You really told him no? Yes. He's going to be angry at you for a long time. I know. He might not talk to you anymore. That's his choice. Emma stood in front of me, studying my face like she was looking for cracks, for places where I might break and slip back into old patterns. "Thank you," she finally said. Those 2 words, barely whispered, meant more than anything else. "You shouldn't have to thank me for choosing you," I said. "That should have been a given from the beginning." But it wasn't. "So thank you for starting now." We stood in the hallway, and I realized that this moment, this small acknowledgement, was the first real step toward healing. Emma went back upstairs to finish her homework. I sat on the couch, feeling the weight of Derek's anger, the complexity of changing family patterns, the fear that I might still fail Emma despite my best intentions. But I also felt something else: hope. The kind that comes from finally understanding what matters, even if that understanding arrived years too late. Dr. Chen told me in our last session that Emma might always carry some wariness, some protection against being disappointed by me. That's the reality of broken trust. It doesn't fully heal. But it can scar over, can become something you learn to live with. I'm learning to live with a lot of things. The guilt of 16 years of failures. The loss of my relationship with Derek. The knowledge that my daughter had to manipulate me into seeing the truth. But I'm also learning to live with new things. The sound of Emma laughing at dinner. The pride in her eyes when she shows me something she's created. The slowly rebuilding trust between us. Yesterday, Emma took down the list she'd made. She showed it to me with 3 of the 6 items checked off. "You're doing better," she said. "Not perfect, but better." "I'll take better." "Good. Because better is all I need right now." She's still careful with me, still protecting herself. But she's also teaching me what it looks like to show up for her. To be present. To choose her even when it's hard. I can't undo the past. I can't give Emma back the childhood she deserved, where her mother was present and prioritized her and protected her achievements. But I can give her something now. I can give her a mother who finally sees her, who finally understands what she lost, who is willing to do the hard work of change. The gaming computer is still at Derek's house. Mason uses it every day, apparently. Derek sends me photos sometimes, I think to make me feel guilty. Mason grinning at the screen, happy and engaged. I'm glad it helps him. But every time I see those photos, I think about Emma sitting alone on her 10th birthday, waiting for her mother to come home. I think about the 11 months she spent saving, testing, planning. I think about how smart she is, how strategic, how she used that intelligence to protect herself from me. She shouldn't have had to be that smart. She shouldn't have needed that protection. But she did. And now I'm spending every day trying to prove to her that she doesn't need it anymore. There's a particular kind of blindness that comes from always looking backward, from constantly paying debts we think we owe. We become so focused on who helped us yesterday that we forget who needs us today. My brother saved me once, and I spent 16 years repaying him at my daughter's expense. Emma didn't need me to be grateful to Derek. She needed me to be present for her. Sometimes the hardest truth to accept is that we can be genuinely grateful to someone and still need to set boundaries with them. We can appreciate past help while recognizing that continuing to prioritize someone else's needs over our own child's welfare is not loyalty, it's dysfunction. Emma taught me that you can't protect people from consequences by sacrificing someone else's needs. Every time I chose Derek, I wasn't just helping him, I was teaching my daughter that her value was negotiable, that her achievements were up for redistribution, that her needs came second to everyone else's feelings. If there's anything worth taking from this, it's this: the people who love you shouldn't require constant proof of your devotion at the expense of others. And the people you're meant to protect, your children, those who depend on you, shouldn't have to strategize and manipulate to get your attention. They shouldn't have to buy 2 computers to test whether you'll value the first one. They should just know, deeply and without question, that they matter to you. That you see them. That when it counts, you'll choose them. I failed Emma for 16 years. I'm trying not to fail her now. Some days I still catch myself reaching for the phone when Derek calls, still feel the pull of old patterns. But then I see Emma working on her projects, hear her laughing with friends, watch her slowly, carefully trusting me again, and I remember, this is what I almost lost. This brilliant, strategic, cautious girl who loved me enough to give me one more chance to get it right. I'm not wasting that chance. Not anymore.